Dear students, welcome back to Freedom, the poem written by Rabindranath Tagore. Today we are dealing with the last portion of the poem, the lines, freedom from the insult of dwelling in a puppet's world, where movements are started through brainless wires, repeated through mindless habits, where figures wait with patience and obedience for the master of show to be stirred into a mimicry of life. Freedom from the insult of dwelling in a puppet's world. Here, Tagore is drawing our attention to another powerful imagery, the imagery of a puppet shop. I think you are all familiar with a puppet shop. Can you imagine my 4 fingers to be puppets? With strings attached to each one of them. See? Their movements are controlled by the strings. They cannot decide or design their movements. When I pull it this side, it moves this side. If I pull this side, it comes this side. Just like this. Tagore says India and Indians are like puppets, lifeless figures, which are controlled by brainless wires or strings. The strings are not thinking about what they are doing. It is the master who is controlling them. Think about how to move them. And their habits, the actions are mindless, means quite irrational. Without thinking, they act. They are spurred into life by the master of the shop. And till the master comes to begin the shop, they wait patiently and obediently without moving. The poet says the country is going through a similar situation. It is a puppet shop that is going on in the country. The master, the Britisher, is taking decisions. India is insulted, terribly humiliated, and her citizens are not capable of reacting against it. They cannot stop it. They are like lifeless figures. They cannot think rationally. No prudent thinking. No judicious execution of plans. Just like puppets, they are repeating certain movements according to the whims and fancies of the master. They don't think. That's why they are compared to brainless wires. The strings, the control is at the hand of the master. And mindless habits. Just a repetition of actions according to the likes and dislikes of the master. And till the master comes to activate them into life, the lifeless figures are just waiting patiently, obediently. And when the master comes and when the show begins, it's not life at all. It is just a mimicry of life. A mockery of life is what happens in India. This is what Tagore speaks about in the final lines of the poem Freedom. And he claims for his motherland a freedom from this state of humiliation and insult. Now about the figures of speech applied in the poem by the poet. In the beginning, we have seen an example for alliteration. Alliteration, you know, the repetition of same sounds in words adjacent to each other. The first sound is repeated in the first line of the poem. The burst sound is repeated in the next. These are examples of alliteration we can point out from the poem. They show the urgency of the demand made by the poet. Then, India is personified. She is considered as an old woman, old and weak, very weak. Her back is broken after bearing the burden of slavery for years and years. Her head is bent in humiliation. A nation which could once boast about a rich heritage, a culture that was a subject of envy to the other nations in the world, is now a mere puppet in the hands of the foreign ruler, the selfish and cruel ruler. Her vision is blinded. She just cannot visualize a bright future. So here, personification is the figure of speech applied. Personification, you know, it is attributing human qualities to something inanimate. Here it is the country. Then a metaphor, a powerful metaphor of a boat whose sails are very weak, who is controlled by the uncertain winds. And finally, the imagery of a puppet show. All these figures of speech are very well applied in the poem to bring home to the reader how pathetic is the situation of our mother country. And from all this bad, sad situation, this deplorable plight, the poet Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore claims freedom for his motherland. My dear students, I hope it is very clear to you now. This is enough for today. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Till we meet through the next video presentation, take care of yourself, stay safe and happy.